What's up, Laker Nation? We're here to celebrate the greatest who's ever wore the purple and gold.
Now, I love me some Magic Johnson, but he's wrong.
Wow.
I mean, Magic calling Kobe the greatest Laker to ever wear the purple and the gold. Now, look, I don't know what you're supposed to say when you're retiring 2 jerseys for one player. Wow. But Magic giving ultimate praise to Kobe Bryant. And in my book, I put Magic #1 in the purple and gold. Maybe Kobe is 2. I'd have to maybe give a little more. Shaq has to be up there. I'm sorry. He's one of the most dominant players in NBA history. Chris Honorado, Eric Hanman, in for Roger here this morning. Albany, of course, on the road at Louisville tomorrow night. It's a 9 o'clock tip. We'll have the game for you right here on 104.5 The Team ESPN Radio. Pregame at 8:30. Tip-off at the Yum Center at 9 o'clock between Louisville and the Great Danes. We're joined in studio by Brian Cody,
morning,
GNA
guys.
Morning Show host, of course. What are you working with there? A little Ludens or
I
Hall's
tend to,
cough drop?
I talk so much over there.
Whose fault is that?
It's Chrissy's.
Yeah.
I give her every opportunity to jump in, and she misses her cues. So I'll do 4.5 nonstop. And I get off the air, and I'm like, I just don't have much left.
Right. And then we're like, hey, you want to pop on and talk some NBA?
Let me tell you something. I can't believe they pay you guys for this. This is the greatest gig in the world.
Let me tell you something.
I love it.
Nobody around here is complaining.
No. Well,
You are one of the biggest hoop guys in the building. You may be the biggest even.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Kobe Bryant gets both jersey numbers retired last night. Should the Lakers have done that? They give him both 8 and 24.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented.
No, and it makes sense. I mean, what he's done and his accomplishments for both numbers are, impressive. If he was only 8 or if he was only 24 for the broken down in those years, it would be impressive. But he's worthy of it. When you're talking about an all-time great, like you throw the books out the window and you just what is the right thing to do? You know?
Yeah.
And that's
I loved his quote when they asked him, this is months ago, have you thought about which number you'd like the Lakers to retire? And he said, not really, and I don't know which one they'll choose kind of as a franchise, but I know this much. Whichever one they don't retire, going to be awfully difficult for somebody else to put that number on.
Oh, he's great,
that's the Mamba mentality.
No, he's an assassin, and everything that was great about Kobe, from just his mentality, the way he went about the game, how he intimidated players, how he wanted to close out the game. That's what you want. Like when you watch the NBA and you admire those kinds of players, he is at the very forefront of that. I love that killer instinct that he has.
All right, let's get into this because I love lists.
Okay.
And I know I love them more than probably Roger does. I think Zach By and I would make him crazy with like our discussions on the air about lists, like who's better and whatever. But honestly, who's better? So, like, is Kobe Bryant the greatest Laker of all time, the way Magic Johnson suggested last night? I say no. For my money, it's Magic.
I didn't when I started watching the NBA, like Kareem was kind of toward the end a little bit. Magic was incredible, but Magic didn't like dominate the game from a stat perspective. Like you look at the numbers of, whether it's Kobe or LeBron or Jordan, like the stats and the numbers are remarkable. Mm-hmm. But what Magic Johnson brought to a game from a winning perspective, he was clutch. He was always in the moment, making his teammates better. Those Showtime Lakers, though, they were loaded with all-time greats.
No doubt.
So because of that, like his stats, like from a pure numbers perspective, aren't going to pop out like LeBron or Kobe's do. But I don't know. Like to say that Kobe's the greatest Laker of all time, it's like saying the greatest Yankee of all time.
Tough. Yeah.
It's just hard to do.
Right.
I agree that Magic with Chris. I agree with that as well. It's tough to really pick a one Laker because
you got to pick one.
You talked about
you got to pick one.
I have to pick one.
So okay. we got to pick one. I'm taking Magic.
No, I'm taking Magic as well, just because he made everybody around him better. Not to say that Kobe wasn't that type of player, but he was more of a when he dropped the 81 points and even down to his last game, maybe not to his the fault of his teammates were just passing the ball to get the 60+ points. But he still knocked him down.
I have to pick, huh? And you say Magic as well?
I say Magic as well, yes.
God, it's just hard. I don't know.
Magic went to 9 NBA finals. He was 5-4 in those finals. Obviously, the losses to the Celtics, lost once to the Sixers
yep.
as well.
I'll tell you this: LeBron is better than all of them.
He doesn't play for the well. You know what? LeBron, when he's on the Lakers next year,
Yeah.
we'll have you can come back in. Then you can say he's the greatest Laker of all time.
Lonzo Ball, the greatest Laker of all time.
Lonzo Ball had his shot blocked last night in overtime by a 41-year-old David West, or however
did he
old
really?
he is. Yeah, at the end of.
I changed it. Swaggy P.
Yeah, there you go.
Nick Young when he was on the Lakers.
Right now, a Warrior.
Right.
Here's what I think about Kobe Bryant and why I think he's not looked upon in history and regarded as he should be. To me, he is Michael Jordan. Like, he's Jordan Redux. If Jordan had never existed and Kobe Bryant is still the same guy, now I think Kobe Bryant probably modeled a lot of who he is after Jordan, but let's say Jordan never existed and we just have Kobe Bryant in his pure form, what we know of him. I think he would be considered perhaps the greatest player of all time because of his competitive nature, because of his cutthroat attitude, because of his ability to make clutch shots.
That's outlandish.
Here's the thing.
That is a
we would have
really...
never seen. Here's and to build on my point here, we never saw somebody like Shaq. So everybody's like, well, he's the greatest big man of all time because he was just so big and dominant. So it makes him the greatest big man of all time. We've never seen somebody like LeBron James because of what he can do from a skill set standpoint with his 6'8", 260, whatever he is. Because we saw Jordan, everybody just kind of looked at Kobe and was like, well, he's just not as good as Kobe, and he's essentially the same player. But had we never seen Jordan before, we'd be like, I've never seen somebody so competitive. I've never seen somebody want to fight their own teammate just to simply win a game. We would laud him for that as opposed to compare him to Jordan.
But here's what I do, though, and I think we all kind of do this. Like, in their time, we all know, we feel like Michael Jordan was the greatest in his era. Like, he was far away better than anybody else when he was out there playing at a high level. It's hard to say that about Kobe. And let me just give you some other players in Kobe's era and what their accomplishments were. Okay, so I put Kobe in there with Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Dirk Nowitzki. Okay, and if I said one of those guys was a 2-time MVP, a 3-time Finals MVP, and a 10-time All-NBA first-teamer, which player am I talking about?
Sure, it's Duncan.
You're talking about Tim Duncan. Okay, good. But you're not talking about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant has 1 MVP, 2 final MVPs, and 11 NBA All-Star first-teamers, which are great accomplishments, but compared to Shaq and Garnett and Dirk, they're not that far off. But when you compare Jordan's stats or LeBron stats or numbers or accomplishments to other peers of his, it's not even close. There's a king on the mountain, and there's a bunch of little guys trying to climb up there.
In the 90s, right? The Jordan 90s. So like the Kobe 2000s, let's call them, right? I mean, the 2 finals he won post Shaq bled into his last one might have been 2010. I can't remember if it was 10 or 11. Either way, doesn't matter. Give him that decade, right, of 2000 to 2010, Kobe. Of the names you just listed, I said to you, you can have any of the guys you want. You're taking Kobe. You're not taking Garnett.
Not necessarily.
You're not taking Duncan.
Listen, Shaquille O'Neal is as dominant as any player's ever been in the NBA, and Duncan is one of the all-time. I mean, you want to talk about stats and numbers and accomplishment. Tim Duncan has accomplished more.
And he's vastly underrated as well.
So you can almost say that Tim Duncan was a better generational player than Kobe Bryant was. See, the thing about
I have a hard time going there because I don't see Duncan as a guy like throw him the ball and he's going to go win you the game every time.
He would average 32 and 15 in a finals.
Sure,
that's not throw him the ball and let the guy dominate a game.
But I mean, what Kobe would do from a scoring perspective, I just think
you like Kobe's flash.
No,
it has a lot to do with it.
I like Kobe's intensity.
Yeah,
I like. I like Kobe's like will to win.
You don't think the big fundamental brought a will to win?
He did.
He's quieter.
Look, he's got 5 rings too. Yeah. I mean, he did. Kobe did it in a more in your face manner, which is what Jordan did. Which is why I just think had we never seen Jordan,
I disagree. With
again,
that.
I think the underappreciation for Kobe comes from having already seen Jordan kind of do that whole act.
I disagree. I disagree that a player like Kobe Bryant, if he existed without Jordan, we would be revering Kobe the way we revere Jordan. I think that's grossly misinterpreting just how good most people think Kobe Bryant is. Listen, when you talk about the NBA of all time, everybody can agree that Michael Jordan is at least 1A or 1B.
Yep.
You'll never get a room full of people who've watched the NBA or follow it and would say that Kobe is also either 1A or 1B without Michael Jordan.
But that
right, because I don't think we can wrap our heads around what we've eliminating something we've already seen. Like we can't do that.
The point you're making, I think, is like too many people were like, well, he's not Jordan.
Of course,
if Jordan never existed, those people who rally around him,
but they
would say he was. They would say that Kobe was a great scorer, and he was.
No, he's got 5 rings. Carmelo Anthony was a great scorer. To call Kobe Bryant a great scorer, Kobe Bryant was a winner. No, he was a winner, and that's what everybody says about Jordan is like. For the people who, and I'm one of them, why Jordan's better than, Jordan won. He was just a cutthroat winner.
But Larry Bird was a cutthroat winner, and he, too, was an assassin, and so was Isaiah Thomas. And all these guys won championships, too. Like, being cutthroat and being an assassin and being a winner, it didn't start with Michael Jordan. And if Michael Jordan didn't exist, Kobe Bryant wouldn't be the only guy that's ever possessed that kind of ability.
But you wouldn't even put Bird and Thomas in the same sentence as Michael Jordan. I mean, really, at the end of the day.
Larry Bird was my
favorite
player of all
and
time.
Will Brown's too.
Watch your mouth.
And Jimmy
if
Patsos.
Will is listening.
But guess what? He's not holding the candle to Jordan. It's not happening.
Well, he'd hold a candle. Might lose a heartbreaker here and there, but he could hold a candle. Come on. The problem with Bird is his body failed.
Of course. Sure.
And I know that that's a big part of it.
And Magic's time in a Lakers uniform was too short as well.
I think that I appreciate that you love and revere Kobe, and I do too.
I don't. I'm just saying.
You said that he's unequivocally the greatest Laker of all time, which I think
No, Magic is my guy.
Oh, Magic was your guy.
Yeah. Magic is my guy because I think he affected the game in so many different ways that didn't show up on a stat sheet. So people will look, well, he averaged 19 points for his career. That's a big deal.
So your biggest argument here is if Michael Jordan didn't exist, Kobe would be Michael Jordan. And that's, in essence, what you're saying.
Kobe, yes.
I can't imagine people driving in their car right now.
I think Kobe would be revered in a way that Jordan is.
He's not even revered generationally in a lot of people's eyes the way Shaquille O'Neal or Tim Duncan is.
See, I don't know about Duncan, and the thing with Shaq is he just bullied everybody. Like, he was just so much bigger than everybody else. He pushed them out of his way.
What do you think Wilt Chamberlain did? Wilt Chamberlain was towering over everybody.
And what do people think about Wilt now? I'm telling you, as time goes by...
My dad could have played NBA basketball
as time goes by, I wonder if Shaq will be thought of as, this great NBA player.
No, Shaq was so imposing, and he should be considered a great NBA player.
So was Wilt. So was George Mikan probably back in the day.
Yeah. But see, I just feel like just because a guy is, his strength is like a brute force. That's still basketball. He's still playing the game of basketball, putting it in a hole and helping your team win.
And we are downplaying Shaq a little bit here because his footwork was terrific.
It really was.
He couldn't make a free throw to save his life, but his footwork on the block was terrific. I would still take Duncan over him.
I like you without Raj. Feisty.
See, I'm telling you, Kobe doesn't get enough love. Okay, yes or no answer here as we're up against it.
Oh, man.
Ezekiel Elliott returning from suspension.
Who am I getting
Is it enough to...
No. You know why? I'm not going to say... The Saints screwed me a couple weeks ago when they had a chance to beat the Falcons. And Gaz is... God awful. Tampa, I'm ruined for Jameis Winston last night to give the Cowboys a chance to make the playoffs.
Me too,
and by the way,
the Packers.
He gave the Bucks an opportunity, and then the schmuck misses the field goal.
I mean, it's a 55-yarder. What do you want from the guy?
Make a kick.
Jeez.
Would Gostkowski have missed that kick?
I saw him miss an extra point on Sunday.
He did, but he wouldn't have missed the kick. He wouldn't have missed the field goal if it mattered.
So Cowboys don't get in.
No, I think it's too little too late.
Well, we'll hang out in the offseason.
Zeke looks good, though, and they'll be back next year.
He does look good. I mean, if I took a trip to Mexico, guaranteed to look like that coming back.
Are you kidding me?
Man, sign me up. I'm on a plane tomorrow.
I would come back from that, and the only thing I'd be equipped to do is sit on the couch. So I do is am I getting bumped for Paul Dottino?
Dottino, we're going to talk some Giants here. Forget the Cowboys. Thanks, Brian. That is Brian Cody of the GNA Morning Show. Disrespecting Kobe.